He tried to show the drone he was just a street vendor. Then he ran for his life. Ukraine says Russian forces are deliberately hunting civilians in what it calls human safaris. Ukraine calls it a deliberate war crime. Russia says it doesn't target civilians. Ukraine has accused Russia of carrying out a deliberate human safari after President Volodymyr Zelensky released a video on August 4th showing what he says is a Russian drone chasing and striking a civilian street vendor in the southern Kherson region. The footage appears to show a drone hovering over a city street before pursuing a man selling vegetables. The man runs around a white van in an attempt to escape, but the drone follows him and detonates beside him. According to doctors, the 52-year-old victim survived with multiple shrapnel wounds, concussion, and psychological trauma. In a statement posted on X, Zelensky condemned what he described as a deliberate attack on civilians.
Today, many were shocked by yet another video of the drone safari Russians are carrying out against civilians in Kherson. A Russian drone deliberately hunted down a man selling vegetables and detonated right next to him. The Russians even admitted to the crime, showing zero regret and openly boasting about tormenting people. The man was wounded in the blast. Every single day, ordinary people in Kherson face these Russian safaris.
The Ukrainian president said the international community must treat the incident as evidence of a broader campaign of terror.
The world must see this. It must see every piece of evidence that Russia has gone mad and that its soldiers take pleasure in killing and abusing civilians. Without pressure on Russia, the dismantling of its capacity for aggression, and real security guarantees, it is simply impossible to imagine the world being able to coexist with this evil. We must remain resolute in defending life. We must act and support life in ways that force Russia to seriously think about peace, rather than expanding the range of its drones.
Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha described the incident as a deliberate war crime by Russia.
This barbaric Russian war crime in Kherson requires international condemnation and justice, yet thousands of similar crimes never reach the public eye. This is a deliberate and systemic Russian strategy. They know exactly what they are doing. The sadist operating this drone knows full well that he is targeting a civilian. This horrific video proves that Russian barbarians will try to repeat their genocidal atrocities of Bucha wherever they can reach.
Later, Kherson Regional Governor Alexander Prokudin released footage from a hospital showing the injured vendor, identified as 52-year-old Yuriy, describing the attack.
My wife and I had just started unloading boxes of vegetables when we heard the drone buzzing overhead. My wife ran away. I tried to show the drone I was only selling vegetables, but it turned toward me. Well, I began to run. It hit the car, and I was next to him. We lined up. And then it hit me. Then I saw that the car was moving. Everything is torn from behind. The whole head is torn. The car is damaged.
So-called human safari drone attacks have been repeatedly reported in Kherson, a city just a few kilometers from the front line. A 2025 United Nations report said it found that Russian forces had recurrently killed and injured civilians in the region using drones to deliberately target them. Russia, which launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, continues to deny intentionally targeting civilians. Russia could be preparing for another large-scale military mobilization to sustain its war in Ukraine, according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who has warned that the Kremlin may seek to recruit between 300,000 and 500,000 additional troops after Russia's legislative elections in September. Speaking in an interview with Sky News on July 27th, Zelensky said President Vladimir Putin has no intention of ending the war and is instead preparing to expand Russia's military manpower.
Putin is aiming to draft up to 500,000 troops to sustain his invasion. Putin is not ready to stop this war. The Kremlin leader intends to execute the mobilization not openly because Putin is afraid of his society. But our Western partners and Ukrainian forces can derail these efforts.
Zelensky warned that the mobilization could begin in early October unless Ukraine and its allies intensify pressure on Moscow.
This will become a big problem because he will count on mobilizing 300,000 to 500,000 people. He will do it at the beginning of October if we do not create problems for him with logistics, weapons, gasoline, diesel, and if our partners do not introduce total sanctions for his aggression.
A day earlier, Zelensky also warned of expanding military cooperation between Moscow and Pyongyang.
We also see Russia's cooperation with North Korea. Russia wants to bring in another 30,000 North Korean troops. Preparations have been underway in Russia's Voronezh region since June to receive them. In addition, North Korea is preparing to supply Russia with new launchers for ballistic missiles.
The warnings come as Ukraine continues its long-range drone campaign against targets deep inside Russia, including repeated strikes on Wildberries, Russia's largest e-commerce company, disrupting logistics and commercial infrastructure. Meanwhile, Putin has signaled that Russia will continue pursuing its military objectives despite mounting battlefield losses. Speaking during an awards ceremony, the Russian president responded to calls from a senior lawmaker for a more aggressive campaign.
But the question arises even bolder. And here, there are risks, the price of which is losses on the battlefield for us. Therefore, we will act carefully, but persistently and consistently, pursuing the goals set for the country, and we will achieve them.
Separately, Russian news agency RBC reported that Putin has signed legislation granting the Russian Ministry of Defense and the National Guard direct access to civil registry data. This move also gives military authorities broader access to personal records for military registration purposes, fueling speculation that Moscow is preparing administrative mechanisms for a possible future mobilization.